spoil the endgame.
Don't do it.
That clip was part of the Marvel studio campaign against spoilers. They had to put it out to stop people, terrible, terrible people, from going on the internet and ruining it for everyone.
Whether it's the new Avengers movie, the latest Game of Thrones, or last night's Drag Race episode, you have less time to watch things before people start talking, and talking loudly, about what just happened.
Is it rude to talk about the weekend's biggest movie on social media when you know that some of your followers haven't seen it yet? And is it fair to ask people not to weigh in? I'm Stacey Lee Kong, freelance writer and editor.
I'm Anthony Oliveira, film curator and comic book author.
I'm Donovan Bennett, host and staff writer for Sportsnet. My question is, how did we even reach this all-time low where we have to educate people about spoilers? The whole point of enjoying popular culture is to avoid moments like this.
Wow, what an ending! Who'd have thought Darth Vader was Luke Skywalker's father?
Thank you, Mr. Blow the Picture for me.
So what's the deal? Is everyone on the internet just supposed to indulge in spoiler paranoia? Or is the solution a little bit simpler? I mean, you could just stay off Twitter.
As a creator, I'm sympathetic to not wanting your surprise ruined, but once it's out in the world, it's out of your hands.
Okay, so we are, to start, going to be as upfront about all of this as we possibly can. In this conversation about spoilers, there will be no spoilers, right? So if, for example, I were to say Arya Stark actually is a we have a very smart, very quick team of people who can protect all of you, but we are going to steer clear of spoilers all the same. So we will not reveal that Captain America is actually we're clear? Everyone? Okay. Okay, everyone, I figure, falls into one of three camps. Either you hate spoilers, you actually don't mind them, maybe you even seek them out, or you just don't care. You're sort of indifferent. Stacey, where do you
I don't mind them, and I do seek them out sometimes. Like 100%.
Okay. Anthony?
I think that we have to make a space for having a public conversation after a screening or after an event happens, and I think we're over-policing those spoilers.
Okay. Donovan?
Yeah, spoiler alert. I actually don't fall in one of those camps, because not only do I hate spoilers, I hate people who make spoilers, who seek them out as well. I'm an equal opportunity hater. And PSA, and I'm going to talk right to camera too, if you seek a spoiler, you lack control and human decency.
Oh my
wow.
That was a lot.
Okay, so let's start by riling Donovan up a little more. NFL running back LaShawn McCoy, so he's with the Buffalo Bills. He tweeted this spoiler about Avengers Endgame.
They could have used Hulk.
But why they know? He's the best one. He's smart, intelligent, cool, and everything.
Yo,
I'm done with Avengers.
It wasn't him.
So before he says too much, the backlash to that video was swift. He was crucified online. There's even a petition of hundreds of signatures calling for his NFL contract to be terminated, for Twitter to delete his account, and for him to have a lifetime ban from ever seeing another Marvel movie, which, okay, so granted, it's not going to happen. Donovan, why does this get you so angry?
Well, I mean, not that level angry. Like, Bills fans, you have bigger fish to fry at this point. But it gets me so angry because of the times that we're in. This is different. We're not in the 80s or the 70s where you were expected to synchronize your viewing with everyone else, watch at the same time, and everyone found out who shot JR. Everyone found out that Ross and Rachel were on a break. See what I did there? I didn't actually spoil what happened. I just spoke to it, right? Because I have great discipline. But now, people binge at different times. We have mass media, huge audiences. The information comes out so quick because of the internet. So the social construct has to change for us to be able to enjoy pop culture the same way.
And I mean, Stacey, even though you fall kind of on the other end of the spectrum, you must see where Donovan's
I do.
coming from, right?
I see where you're coming from. I support you.
But
I think you're being so much, but I think that it's actually impossible to change. This is the way the world works in 2019, right? Like, I think it is very natural after you watch a movie. I wouldn't have done that.
Post the video with the spoilers, sure, yeah.
A lot, but after you see a movie and you are so caught up in what happens, it's very natural to want to go and be like, guys, what do you think of this? I'm so mad about this. My heart is broken. And I think it's also very natural in 2019 to do that on social media.
But it doesn't, you don't feel like it ruins the experience when you seek out...
Well, it doesn't ruin the experience for me. I don't care at all.
Yeah, you don't care. because you're selfish. But other people who haven't seen it, they do care. And listen, before Twitter, you didn't have a speaker box on your phone to run and talk about what happened in Avengers or Game of Thrones. So why do you have to do it now?
Okay, wait. Anthony, I have to give you a chance to wait.
I can't believe
you're actually a content creator, right? Like
yes.
you have a comic book coming out.
Yeah, I've got an Avengers comic coming out.
How would you feel if someone spoiled the ending?
I would. That's okay. It depends what you mean by spoilers. This is the thing. If someone leaks the story before it comes out and posts it online, I would be furious.
Correct.
But once it's out, I think part of the joy of these texts is the cultural discussion. Like after Avengers weekend, we're all going to talk about the spoilers. As soon as the Game of Thrones episode's over, everyone wants to tweet about it. Everyone wants to, like, that shared communal viewing experience when you talk about who shot JR and like who shot Mr. Burns. That's part of the pleasure of these texts. And if you just say, well, you can't talk about it for 10 years after a movie comes out, like, what's the point?
Yeah.
I'm just sitting in my room watching Netflix.
By yourself.
Yeah.
That's not how we have to
And Donovan, I mean, aren't we putting a bit too much emphasis on the ending of the film, right? Because, I mean, or whatever you're watching. I mean, isn't the journey of it unfolding, isn't that worth more?
It's not just about the ending, because some great documentaries, there's some great plot lines in them that, even if you know how it ended, right? I know that the Fire Festival wasn't a success. Spoiler alert. Ja Rule, not a great party planner. But there's some key details in that film about how maybe they secured some water that if I spoiled for people, didn't do it, it would ruin the viewing experience. So I do think that keeping the film sacred or the movie sacred is important.
So, and Stacey, help me understand your point of view, because, I mean, just to Donovan's point, I mean, you only get to experience, a work of art for the first time once. And so why do you feel so at ease just kind of reading up the plot summary on Wikipedia and then going to see the film?
Because there are so many things to watch. There are so many things. There's no way that you could experience all of the things that there are to experience for the first time. So, I think there's like the tyranny of must-see TV, or you have to watch this, where I'm like, yeah, I do, but I don't have enough hours in the day. So for me, it's like a nice strategy to be able to take part in that same, I love those cultural conversations. I'm not trying to say that I think that everyone needs to know everything at all times, and so you should also enjoy spoilers. I'm just saying they don't bother me.
And sorry, go ahead, Anne.
Well, that also speaks to one of the other functions of a spoiler, is sort of to help people not just cope with a text, but know if they're going to be challenged by a text. Like, there's also a simple capitalist thing, like, do I want to give this thing my money if I know that it's going to have content that I find troubling or alarming or even just interesting or marginalizing, right? Or triggering, right? Like, sometimes people need content warnings. Like, managing horror movies is a big part of this for a lot of people. Like, I know so many people who read the end of a horror movie so they know how much to be stressed as they go through the film.
But what you're describing is a trailer, right? You get something to decide if you want to invest more time, not a spoiler. And my empathy is not just for people who it's spoiled for, but it's the content creators, because they spend so much time thinking of the conflict resolution, the plot, thinking of the nuances throughout the story. And if that is ruined because you've read a spoiler or been told the ending, then their work is being perceived differently than when they originally made it.
And just so we're all clear, I mean, how do we even define a spoiler, right? So if I tell you, hey, if you go and see Avengers Endgame, I'll be careful. But if I tell you the ending is crazy, I won't spoil it for you, though. Is that a spoil? Did I just spoil something for you?
No, I think that's an endorsement.
Okay.
That's marketing.
So that doesn't ruin it for you. Okay.
But I think sometimes spoilers are marketing. And I would even say that sometimes the campaign, the idea of keeping spoilers hush-hush, that's marketing too.
Well, case in point. So can we roll that, the social media campaign again? So this was from the official Avengers Twitter account, the actual cast of the movie, imploring people, for the love of God,
don't spoil the endgame.
Don't do it.
Don't spoil the endgame.
I'm watching you.
Don't spoil the endgame. I'm watching you. Seriously. Don't spoil the endgame.
So it's all very meta, but it does, to your point, it kind of makes you think, right? Like, for all the obsessing and the hand-wringing that we're doing over spoilers, we all know who's really cashing in at the end of the day in the hype machine.
I will admit, I didn't want to disappoint Chris Evans. I didn't. I did it, but I felt a little bad about it. No, I'm joking. I didn't feel bad about it at all, because really, that's what this is. This is all whether you decide to spoil something, whether you decide to spoil yourself, it's all just a hype machine to get us to go see a movie.
Well, that's so interesting to me because especially with this, not just the Don't Spoil the Endgame campaign, but the subsequent discussion, like the Russos, the directors of the Avengers, put a spoiler embargo out where they said, okay, now we can talk about it.
Right.
And they did that simply because the Spider-Man trailer was about to drop and spoil everything from the movie. So it's fascinating to me watching the way marketing and hype is migrating the conversation about who decides what's a spoiler but into the hands of creators, but also the companies that own these products, right?
Well, the interesting thing is the creators didn't even trust the actors. Other than Robert Downey Jr., many of the text was redacted because they couldn't trust the professionals to be professional and not spoil things in the culture that we live in.
I want to give everyone a chance. Let's do a quick go around just for fun. What's the worst thing that's been spoiled for you? And given your point of view, maybe you spoiled it for yourself.
So I will say, I can't think of a single thing that has been spoiled for me that upset me. I can think of one exception. What would have upset me, I think, is when I was reading Game of Thrones to know what happened in the Red Wedding. I think I would have been upset because it really would have altered the power of that scene. So I get where Donovan is coming from, even though Donovan never gets where I'm coming from.
Donovan, worst thing that's been spoiled for you?
Jinx and the ending of Jinx was spoiled for me because of the news coverage about what that ending meant. See, I'm
very delicate.
I'm afraid to even. I've said too much already.
Anthony.
The worst thing that was ever spoiled for me was in high school. My best friend was obsessed with spoilers, and he would read them ahead of time. And he said 3 words about the series finale of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, no.
That before it aired, that ruined my favorite show for me, and I still have like traumatic flashbacks.
I've had both the ending to Avengers Endgame and all of the latest episodes from Season 8 Game of Thrones, all spoiled for me because I do this bloody panel. I have to read up on everything.
We appreciate your sacrifice.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.